Hi there. Thank you so much for joining me for this full body stretch. This is a great piece to add at the end of your workout, or even if you've just been sitting a lot today and you just need to stretch out some of those tight spots. If you are putting this at the end of your workout and you ended on cardio, I would encourage you to do about a minute of cool down, just bring your heart rate down with continued movement, high knees, walking on the spot, what have you, before you plunk yourself down and start with these static stretches. But without further ado, let's dive into the stretch. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position, back nice and tall, crown of head toward the ceiling, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. And we'll drop one ear over to the shoulder, getting a nice stretch in the neck. If you'd like to add a little more stretch here, you can take the opposite arm out at about a 45-degree angle. And we'll breathe here for a few seconds. On an inhale, bringing that head back up to center, and then gently bringing the ear over to the other shoulder. Again, you can take that opposite arm out at about a 45-degree angle if you'd like to increase the stretch. Remember to keep breathing here, keeping those shoulders relaxed, shoulder blades coming down the back. Can move the chin a little bit if you'd like to find a different spot to stretch if somewhere else is a little sticky. And then we'll bring our head center again, and we're going to stretch our arms out to either side, keeping those shoulders again relaxed away from the ears, and without arching the back, pressing the backs of the hands to the wall behind you, or whatever's behind you. Keeping that chin parallel to the ground, continuing to breathe. And then rotating those thumbs forward and down so that they point toward the ground and the palms of the hands can press behind you. Just stretching a slightly different part of the arm. Then take those palms up toward the ceiling, bring the arms together overhead, and bend the elbows so that the hands are coming to the back of your neck. Trying to find a stretch in the triceps here, that's the back of the upper arm. You can bring your elbows even closer towards your head than I'm doing here if it's comfortable for you, and think about driving them behind you without actively arching the back. Releasing that stretch, let's take a seated cat-cow, so bracing those hands on the knees. On the inhale, we're going to arch our back gently, tipping the chin up toward the ceiling, but not tipping the head all the way back. And then on the exhale, curling everything down, so we're arching the back away, rounding the back away. And we'll continue to move like this, nice long breath. So on the inhale, you're opening your chest toward the ceiling a little bit, tipping that head up. You can use your knees to brace. And then on the exhale, you're curling everything down, curving that back. A few more here. Just moving with your own breath. You don't need to follow me exactly. And then let's find that nice tall spine again. We'll put one hand on the opposite knee and take a gentle twist around, setting the other hand behind you to help keep your back nice and straight. You can turn your neck as much as is comfortable, but you don't need to make like an owl here. You don't need to be trying to look over the shoulder. This is more about that rotation in the spine. Inhaling to get taller even as we twist here, and then if you want to take the twist deeper, that's on your exhale. And then we'll inhale, come back to center, and switch to the other side. So inhaling to get tall, exhaling to rotate. Continuing to breathe, getting taller on those inhales, maybe turning a little bit more on those exhales. A couple more breaths here. And then inhaling to get tall as we come back to center. From here, we'll come into a side stretch, placing one hand down on the mat beside your hip, sweeping the other arm up and over, thinking about opening the chest toward the ceiling. It's not that your chest is going to point to the ceiling, but we're just trying to avoid that shoulder, upper shoulder, curving down. You can look straight ahead, you can look down, or you can look on an angle up. On an inhale, we'll come up and switch to the other side. Always continuing to breathe here. You can bend into that hand that's on the ground, that arm that's on the ground as much as you'd like to deepen the stretch. And then on an inhale, we'll come back to sit up nice and tall. And we're going to come into butterfly pose. So putting the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall out to the sides. The closer your heels are in, the more you'll feel the stretch in the inner thigh. The further out, you'll get more into the outer thigh. So whatever you're looking for today. Once you find the position you like, we're going to press those knees down toward the ground. You don't need to use your hands, just use your muscles. And then you can either curve your back down or you can sit up nice and tall as you lean forward. Keeping those shoulders out of those ears, and then taking some nice deep breaths here. No bouncing. We don't want to bounce in this pose. Taking an inhale, coming to sit up, and we're going to come into a figure 4 pose to stretch the hamstring and into the calf, placing one foot against the inside of the other thigh, stretching that leg long. You can bend the knee a little bit. You'll still get the hamstring, or you can keep the leg straight. And we're going to bring those toes toward our face as much as we can as we inhale to get tall and then exhale to lean forward over the extended leg. Again, you can round that back down if you'd like we did in butterfly, or you can keep the spine long. If you're keeping the spine long, you're thinking about bringing the chest toward the thigh or the knee, rather than thinking about bringing the nose to the foot. You're thinking about nose to knee if you're rounding the back. Coming out of that on an inhale, we're going to take the ankle of the leg that was straight and cross it over the thigh of the other leg right above the knee. You can bring that bracing foot in as far as you'd like or out, and you can sit up as tall on those hands or walk them back so that your back is on more of an angle. You're looking for a stretch in the outside thigh of that foot of that leg that's raised. Continuing to breathe here, thinking about pressing the knee of the raised leg away from you, adjusting as needed to change the stretch. And then unlocking that ankle to come out. We're going to come down on our side, still with that same leg that was straight and then crossed over the knee. We're going to take the top of the foot in our hand. You can have your head propped up like that, or you can bring it down onto your forearm. This is a stretch for the quad. You can think of pushing the hips forward a little bit to get even deeper there. And as always, continuing to breathe. Release this stretch. We're going to do these last 3 stretches on the other side. So first, we're taking the other flat of the foot to the inside of the thigh, getting tall over that extended leg, bringing the toes toward the face, and then on an exhale, leaning forward over that leg. Again, you can bend the knee a little bit if you'd like, curve the back, or keep it upright. Coming up from this pose on an inhale, we're going to cross the ankle of the extended leg over the other thigh, just above the knee, and setting up for that stretch for the outer thigh. This is basically a variation on pigeon pose. You can also do it with your back flat on the ground, or you can take pigeon. I just find this one easier to cue in and out of, and I'll show you it from the other side here. Neck stays nice and long throughout, pressing that lifted knee away from you. Coming out of that pose, we'll come down on our side again for that quad stretch on the other side. Prop your head or laying it on your upper arm, taking the top of the foot, and then bringing those hips forward to really feel a nice stretch through the hip flexors and the quads. Come out of this pose and set up for our final pose. We're going to take a wide-legged child's pose, knees about the width of your mat, and then walking down, bringing those arms way out in front of us. We're feeling a nice stretch through the side body, through the back. And then once you're settled, walking the hands over to one side. So you're getting a stretch through the far side of the body. Breathing here, really filling up the lungs, feeling that stretch in the back as you breathe. And then walking in the other direction. Couple deep breaths here. And then taking it back to center for a moment before we sit up and come to a comfortable seated position once again. We'll finish up by taking 3 deep breaths together, inhaling through the nose and sighing it out through the mouth. Again, inhaling deeply through the nose, sighing it out through the mouth. One more time, deep inhale and exhale. Thank you so much for stretching with me. Stay strong, calm, and kind.